Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. This is the $1,500 Cadillac build featuring the i7-7700K that I did right here on the channel in 2017. Updated from a 1070 to an RTX 2070, 1440p ultra detail. Does it still have what it takes, or is it obsolete? Now, I did a series of videos on this, linked in the video description below, some other games as well. Today is XCom2 War of the Chosen. Before you run off because you say that's an old game and of course it plays well on here, yes it does, the base standard game. We have mods installed today. I'm going to show you a heavily modded version of the game because if you're still playing XCom2 War of the Chosen in 2023, hopefully you have some mods installed. The Steam Workshop for this game is fantastic. There are so many ways you can customize this game. There are total conversions, there's graphic mods, voice mods, there's map mods, there's a campaign mod. There's so many ways you can change this game. It is absolutely delightful. And you can pick up the entire thing cheap these days because it's been out now for many years. Just make sure you get the complete collection. It's wonderful. Now, the base game plays fine on a 7700K. The CPU was launched when the game was already released. So, of course, it runs just fine. That's not the question to be answered here today. The question is, how well does it run when you have many, many gigabytes of mods downloaded and installed? And if you're not comfortable with mods or you haven't done mods before, if you've never checked out the Steam Workshop, go into Steam, click on XCom2, click on Steam Workshop. They're all there. You just hit subscribe next to each of them and boom, you can add these items to the game. They automatically download to your install. No muss, no fuss. It's really, really super easy. Barely an inconvenience. There is a playlist down below with some other games where I've done this format, as well as an overview of this machine in general. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this and what you want to see other games tested, change CPU, change GPU. Do you like this format? Do you not like this format? I look forward to reading your comments. And with that being said, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into this. Buy Windows 10 Professional for $15, activate instantly online with Microsoft, and keep it forever. Don't pay full price. Get the best deal from our sponsor, URCD Keys, using our link in the video description below. Full details on how this amazing deal works at the end of the video. Here we have the opening of the final battle of XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. Spoiler alerts, we're gonna destroy the bad guys. I know you're all tremendously shocked. Now, for those of you who simply want the answer, here's the TLDR version if you don't want to watch this entire thing. It's playable, it's not great. It works better without mods, but the more mods you throw in here, you're going to find that it's going to run into issues. Now, when you look at the CPU usage in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, some of you are bound to say, but it's not using 100% of the CPU. It's not even using 50% of the CPU at times. Why is it so poor? Good question. Glad you asked. Some of that may be the older platform. Some of it may be the fact that we're at 4.2 and not 5 gigahertz. Some of that is due to the fact that regardless of what it actually shows on the screen, it is in fact a limited CPU for a game with 50 plus mods installed. It's fine until it isn't. It runs pretty well and then it doesn't. Notice the RAM usage. We're over 16 gigs of RAM. And remember, this is a clean test bench. Nothing else is installed and running. This is a relatively recent install of Windows 10. Everything is fresh and nice. There's nothing else except MSI Afterburner and the game itself running. That's mods. The game itself does not use this much RAM. In fact, this game actually runs just fine on 16 gigs of RAM if you're playing mod-free. But man, the Steam Workshop is filled with so much amazing work from the community. I cannot recommend it highly enough for those of you interested in trying different game modes, different characters, different voices, different weapons, different maps. You can triple, quadruple the fun in this game by playing around in the Steam Workshop. Just be aware that some mods are incompatible with others, so you do need to read all the notes as to which ones you can install and which ones create conflicts and whatnot. As we watch this very first battle right here, you will notice a lot of spikes in the frame time graph. Those are never going to go away. Again, it's just the limitation of the system. You will notice that the graphics card usage in the upper left-hand corner is not at 100%. We are, in fact, at 1440p maximum detail here. I don't actually think the game calls it ultra. It's actually a maximum setting where everything is cranked to the nines. But our graphics card, our RTX 2070, is not being fully utilized. Our limitation here is the CPU, despite the fact that it is not at 100%. Now, for those of you who are going to hang out with me, I will edit this. This battle actually took almost an hour to play, I think 52 or 53 minutes. I will cut this down and just show you a few highlights here. But for those of you who don't want to watch the entire thing, yes, it's this bad. Now, I am showing you the worst case scenario because this is the final battle, and one of the mods I have installed allows me to bring maximum crew members to this battle. Notice I have way more than normal. Well, okay, so if you don't play XCom 2, you don't know this. Normally, you can only bring between 6 and 8 people on a mission. In the stock configuration, you'd be able to take 7 in the final battle. Your standard 6 crewmates plus the avatar itself. Small spoiler alert, but an avatar is a physical representation of a person that you remotely control. It's part of the story. In any case, so we've got far more than 7 people here, and that is part of the performance issues. The game's having to keep track of all of that, and if we did not have all these people, it would certainly run better. The early missions of the game will run better, the mid missions of the game will run better, and if you don't have a mod installed that lets you bring this many people, then, of course, it will run better. Interestingly enough, it really does make the game too easy. In some regards, I think this is the one mod that you really should only install once you've played through the game probably twice, because the game is balanced around being able to bring a limited number of crew members. And even in normal battles, it's possible to bring 9 crew members in most battles, which is way more than the game is balanced. The game is balanced around 4 initially and 6 later on, with a 7th on a couple of key missions, but otherwise just 6. For those of you curious, XCom 2 originally came out in 2016, and then its expansion pack, War of the Chosen, launched a year later in 2017. War of the Chosen is not a new set of missions. It actually reworks the original game and is probably more what they had in mind when they were creating XCom 2, but I imagine, as with most software development cycles, time became the enemy. They had to cut the game down and release it as it was, and then, of course, release what they originally intended to, especially once sales did pretty well. This is a sequel to the reboot, XCom Enemy Unknown, which launched in 2012. That game, I've tried playing it. I've never actually finished the original XCom Enemy Unknown, partly because I played XCom 2 first, and the problem is once you played XCom 2, the first game feels limited. They added a lot of things to XCom 2. Now, it is a direct sequel. XCom 2 basically follows, spoiler alert, the bad ending of XCom Enemy Unknown. It assumes you lose the war, the aliens take over the planet, and now you're the resistance forces. So it's an interesting twist. It's not the direction most of these things go down, and I like it. I really do. I think it's interesting. There are a few elements in this game which are initially confusing if you didn't play the first one. I have since, of course, read the backstory of the history online, which you can see on Wikipedia and a variety of other places. But it is a little bit confusing when you're sitting there trying to go, okay, why the aliens control Earth? We're all slaves? What? Huh? Oh, but society's fine, except nobody's free, and there's aliens roving everywhere. It's kind of an abrupt intro, to be completely honest. If you don't know the original game, it's a little abrupt. If you have not played XCOM 2 and you want to go back and play the original, by all means do so, but I think once you played XCOM 2, it kind of spoils the first one. They did not include native mod support in the first game, although that doesn't mean nobody can mod it, but it does mean that it's more challenging to mod. It wasn't built right into Steam. They didn't include turn-based missions. There's a lot less flexibility. The narrative isn't there. It's a simpler story. It's more focused on the actual combat and battles. There's a lot of cutscenes, a lot of narrative, a lot of not interactive movies. There's a lot of dialogue sequences and stages throughout this game that are more sci-fi movie focused than maybe just a straight turn-based action shooter. In any case, that's neither here nor there. Again, coming back to the performance, I have played this game on a variety of machines. I used to stream this game extensively on Twitch, Back in 2017 and 2018, I was relatively active on Twitch. I streamed anywhere between 20 to 40 hours a week back then. I haven't streamed on Twitch for a long time, for those of you going, oh, he streams on Twitch, let me go check. No, I don't. So I used to stream on Twitch extensively, and XCom2 was one of my main games that I streamed. I also did Cities Skylines, World of Warships, The Division. Actually, back then it was The Division, not The Division 2. Ghost Recon Wildlands. This was before Breakpoint came out. But XCOM 2 was one of my more popular games that I streamed. And I've played this on a variety of machines, but most of my time was originally played on my i7-7700K. Now that is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU that came out after the 7700K. And then I also have played this extensively on my i9-9900K, which is an 8-core, 16-thread chip, which of course, I know, don't be shocked, came out after the 8700K. It plays very well on both of those machines. On the i9, even with mods installed, it's really good. It is not butter smooth. Let me be absolutely clear. Whenever you install 50 plus community-made mods in almost any game that contain unoptimized assets and unoptimized code, you are going to run into some stutters, into some issues. It wasn't designed with it. There's mods here created by a variety of different people. It's not going to be perfect. It's much, much better than this. This is, I'll be honest, I was a little bit shocked at how rough this was. It's a turn-based game. It's playable. But yeesh, it would not be my first choice. Tone the mods down. Turn the mods off completely, and I would recommend this. I wouldn't have a problem playing this, but yeah, it's only my experience makes this kind of fine, but I would find the overall experience to be poor on a 7700K, which ironically, Cyberpunk was really not that bad. And if you're watching them out of order and you're seeing this before Cyberpunk, spoiler alert, Cyberpunk wasn't really that bad. The Division 2 plays great on this machine, at least in the single-player mode. Don't go into the dark zone and do multiplayer on a 7700K. I mean, you can, but you'll get into frame stutters. But it's very smooth on a 7700K. This game is not. The last section I want to show you here is the very, very final battle. Now, if you don't want to see how this thing turns out, well, okay, I'm probably not even going to show you the whole thing because this will take too long. But instead, what I'm going to show you here is a smaller room. The very final battle where you fight the very bad final people is a smaller map. And it actually runs better than what you just saw. In some regards, I am being a little unfair to the game because the battle you just saw was probably the largest, if not one of the largest maps in the game. It is overloaded with mods, overloaded with characters that should not be there. I have way too many people there. And it's sort of the absolute positively worst case scenario. This room here is a smaller map. Now, interestingly enough, if you play the non-War of the Chosen, non-patched original game, they're the same room. The original game had this room as part of the map that we just left. But we phased in here because they separated it. Partly due to War of the Chosen, partly due to bug fixes. I'm sure there's a couple of other reasons. But they separated the map along the way. I remember this. I remember used to playing it. I actually don't know if the original XCOM 2 game without War of the Chosen still keeps it as a single map, because I have not played the non-War of the Chosen version of this game in like forever, because why would you? I mean, the War of the Chosen version is a better game. Now, would I play the standalone game without War of the Chosen first if I were playing XCOM 2 fresh? That depends. It's a good question. If you're the kind of person that plays a game, you see the story, you go, oh, that was fun, that was interesting, and you put it down. Yes, play War of the Chosen. If you're the kind of person who likes what you see and thinks, you know what, I'm going to play this through, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to optimize, I'm going to play it again, I'm going to try a different strategy. I'm going to try ranged, I'm going to try melee, I'm going to try different builds. I want to go through the story and do a speed run. I want to do a 100% completion and clear the entire world map. I want to explore and take over every territory and research every technology. If you are that person, play the non-War of the Chosen first. It is a different experience, and it will be cool going through them both differently. Do the non-War of the Chosen vert first, and then if you want to, jump into War of the Chosen. Just be aware that in general, if you do that, once you play War of the Chosen, I personally don't think you'll go back, but that's a personal take. In any case, so as I said, I'm not being fair to the game. It's the worst case scenario with 6 people, even 9 people. Even with the mod, with 9 of your characters on standard city maps or urban maps or underground maps, it won't be as bad. In fact, you can see a graphical glitch right there. You can see through her torso. That's a mod right there. I mean, obviously, these outfits, if you can't figure out that these outfits are obviously not standard, then you don't know how large corporate video games work, because they would never release it like this. So that's a graphical glitch because it's using 2 different pieces of, quote, armor that weren't either designed to go together or weren't stitched together correctly, or it's missing a belt or something in there. But regardless, yes, all of this is customized. And many of the weapons that you're seeing are also customized. Some of the guns and weapons that they're shooting did not come with the game. Custom guns, custom ammo, custom armor, custom skins, all kinds of changes. I'm not going to go so far as to say it is the most moddable, customizable game ever, because that's ridiculous. It is absolutely not. But man, it is extensive. That is a long run. Watch how far that is. That is a far, far run. And of course, normally these characters can't run that far either. There's a cybernetic mod that I have installed, which gives my characters faster running ability, longer running ability, and even jump ability. In fact, I don't know if you'll get to see it right here, but you'll watch this. It cuts it off. Sorry. They actually have rocket boots, and they don't have to climb up the ladders. Normally, you have to climb up ladders to get to the top of platforms, but one of the cybernetic mods is essentially jump boots. It gives them the ability to simply jump up and down to and from any platform. It's overkill. What can I say? Now we're going to jump ahead here to the last piece of footage I'm going to show you. And what you're going to watch here is Overwatch in all of its glory. When you've got all of your soldiers. I'm going to say all of my girls. When you have all of your girls situated in ready position, set up in Overwatch, they will take shots at any enemy that appears and any enemy that moves forward. Sometimes it's triggered only on movement. Sometimes it's triggered on any action. So basically, all of them are set up in covering fire, and as soon as the enemies appear, they just open fire automatically. It can be impressive. If you set up your Overwatch setups right, overwhelming forces can be cut to pieces. If you stumble into the enemy without making proper preparations, in fact, you can see here, this is the actual avatar right here, spoiler alert, and you can see that he was ready for a shot, so we simply shot him. You're going to see some more appear here in just a second, and they just poof into existence. It seems like it's kind of cheating to me. Oh, these guys are nasty. They split. You know what they do doesn't matter. Those guys are nasty. Those things, those codexes are weird. So in any case, you get the idea. I have over 1,000 hours played in this game. I cannot recommend it highly enough if you like turn-based strategy games with an interesting story and interesting mods and interesting characters. If what you have seen here appeals to you, oh, for Pete's sakes, why are you still watching this? Go buy a copy. I will put some links to order the complete collection from various sites, Humble Bundle, Fanatical, etc., linked down in the video description below if you are so inclined. And if you do play this game, let me know what you think. Let me know, do you play it modded or unmodded? Do you like War of the Chosen or do you like the base game? There's no wrong answers there. It's personal preference. Do you like doing 100% complete runs, speed runs? Do you play the challenge missions? Do you just like to replay the story? Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to reading your thoughts. I have to admit, that shocked me. Really shocked me. I recently played through XCom2 again as recently as Christmas 2022 on my i7-7700K 8-core 16-thread machine. Now, to be fair, I have a better graphics card in there than a 2070, but the problem here was not the 2070. The problem was the 7700K. Yes, I know the CPU is not fully utilized. It clearly made a difference. That performance was abysmal. Install fewer mods, don't play the end mission, it won't be so bad. There's some middle ground between installing 0 mods and all the mods that would still be playable on a 7700K. But you definitely need a faster, newer CPU in order to really get great performance. And while I do have a faster graphics card at home, it's not that much faster, and I play at 1440p ultra-wide, so that's not really making the difference. It really is the CPU. So this is a good example of an old game that can be made unplayable when you change things around. And no, I didn't screenshot the mod list. I probably should have. Some of you might say, well, maybe it's one of the mods you have installed that's causing the problem. You may be right. It may be that one or more of the mods, like I could have 50 of the mods installed, but the last 5 might be what's throwing things off. And if I just took 1 or 2 out, it might run better. The problem is, without playing mod roulette, you don't know which ones are doing it. And it's very time consuming to go in and go, well, I'll take these 3 out and I'll put those in. I'll take these out, I'll put these in. That's kind of an endeavor. If you want to mod games like this, you have to go more than the basic system requirements, because obviously the people who create these mods don't optimize them quite the same way that game developers do. Which I know was kind of funny, because you're going to say, game developers optimize games today? They just expect you to throw a gazillion bytes of RAM and clock speed and graphics card at games and make them run. Ubisoft and EA and... I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Fun game. If you like anything you saw here today, and of course you didn't see the ship customization, you didn't see the character building and the leveling and the research modes and the exploration and the story... I mean, there is so much more to this. Go pick it up. It's awesome. Looking for a Windows 10 or 11 product key, but you don't want to spend $100 to $200 for it? Our sponsor, URCD Keys, provides discounted Windows keys at amazing prices. $15 for Windows 10 Professional, $21 for Windows 11 Professional, and just $60 for Microsoft Office 2021 Professional Plus. These product keys are the real deal. They activate directly with Microsoft Online, link to your Microsoft account, and they work forever. For Windows, you simply go to Settings, Update and Security, Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key provided by URCD Keys, and in seconds, you're activated with Microsoft. For Office, go to setup.office.com, sign in with your Microsoft account, paste the product key provided by URCD Keys, and then download Office 2021 Pro Plus directly from Microsoft. Remember to use the discount code TD20 to save 25% off the already deeply discounted prices and support our channel at the same time. We have been using product keys from URCD Keys for almost 5 years now without any issues, and encourage you to do so as well. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Check the link to the playlist down in the video description below. And as I said at the beginning of this video, let me know what else you want to see. Do you like this format, not like this format? I haven't done it for a while. I did a couple of videos on the i7-7700K. I'm doing a few on this. I want to see what the interest level is, because this lets me really talk about the performance and show a lot of footage that just benchmark videos don't let me do. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I will see all of you next time.